Hai semua, dengar kabar gembira. Tot Jabar hadir di sini setiap Rabu jam setengah depan 8 malam. Webinar pendidikan, ayo kita berdiskusi, bergabunglah, jangan ragu. Sebarkan ilmu, itu yang kita tuju. Dari guru, media pengajaran hingga siswa, webinar mingguan, ayo kita ikuti selalu. Setiap bulan ada yang spesial, Tot Jabar dalam bahasa Inggris sangat ideal. Belajar bersama, asah kemampuan dalam suasana penuh kebersamaan. Bergabunglah, jangan ragu. Sebarkan ilmu, itu yang kita tuju. Dari guru, media pengajaran hingga siswa, webinar mingguan, ayo kita ikuti selalu. Jadi ayo bergabung, jangan tunggu lagi. Webinar kami penuh inspirasi. Bersama kita belajar, berbagi pengetahuan, menuju masa depan yang gemilang.
Franklin's music.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Selamat malam Ibu Bapak semua. Mohon izin tes mic terlebih dahulu. Halo Mr. Salahuddin.
Hai, Mister. Oke. Mas Abdul. Sorry.
Moderator MC Miss Java keluar lagi sepertinya. Dan nanti pembicara Miss Nick belum ada juga. Saya serahkan ke Mr. Salahuddin.
Langsung saja, mulai ya. Oke, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good evening, esteemed educators, colleagues, and lifelong learners from across West Java and beyond. Welcome to another enriching session of the TOT Jabar webinar series, proudly presented in collaboration with the International Affairs Division of IGI Kota Bogor and supported by Stekom University and PTIC Kota Bogor. It's a pleasure and honor to have you with us this evening as we continue our shared commitment to strengthening professional practice and fostering thoughtful innovation in education. To our YouTube audience, thank you for joining us tonight. We are glad to have you as part of this learning community. And to begin our session, let us open together by reciting Al-Basmalah. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Now, I kindly invite everyone to stand for Indonesian national anthem, which will be followed by a brief profile video of Stekom University.
Universitas Sains dan Teknologi Komputer Stekom punya modal besar berupa ide-ide baru yang dapat direalisasikan dalam menjalankan industri kreatif.
Bagi semua mahasiswa Universitas Stekom harus memiliki skill dan kompetensi untuk bisa produktif dan bersaing di tingkat global.
Universitas Sains dan Teknologi Komputer dapat dimanfaatkan sebesar-besarnya bagi generasi muda untuk memperoleh kesempatan memasuki dunia kerja, berkarya, dan berinovasi untuk pembangunan, terutama di sektor ekonomi.
Universitas Stekom memegang peranan yang sangat penting dalam pengembangan aspek kewirausahaan, khususnya untuk UMKM masa depan yang berbasis pada kreativitas dan inovasi teknologi.
Universitas Sains dan Teknologi Komputer Semarang berani mengambil peluang dan berinovasi dalam mengembangkan kewirausahaan dan perdagangan digital di tanah air.
Universitas Sains dan Teknologi Komputer mampu melahirkan lulusan yang memiliki kompetensi yang dibutuhkan dunia kerja hari ini, sehingga lulusan kampus dapat langsung diserap dunia kerja.
Universitas Sains dan Teknologi Komputer atau Universitas Stekom merupakan salah satu perguruan tinggi terkemuka di Jawa Tengah yang berpusat di Semarang. Berdiri lebih dari 37 tahun dan memiliki 8 kampus cabang dan 1 gedung pusat karir yang tersebar di berbagai kota di Jawa Tengah.
Tunggu. Kayaknya kita langsung aja deh ngeliatin fasilitas yang ada di Universitas Stekom ini.
Yuk ikutin kita.
Ayo.
sambil bekerja atau bekerja sambil kuliah merupakan kebanggaan bagi 6.000 lebih mahasiswa aktif Universitas Tekkom. Sebuah prestasi yang selalu meningkat dan terbukti. 90% mahasiswa Universitas Tekkom sudah memperoleh pekerjaan dan sukses di dunia kerja dan wirausaha sebelum diwisuda. Universitas Tekkom juga memiliki kerjasama eksklusif dengan toplocker.com, platform pencari kerja yang mendapat penghargaan juara 1 Startup for Industry 2022 dari Kementerian Perindustrian. Universitas Tekkom juga aktif bekerja sama secara internasional dan berteman baik dengan berbagai universitas terkenal mancanegara. Berikut adalah lokasi kampus Universitas Tekkom yang tersebar di Jawa Tengah.
Ojo mek kerja, ojo mek kuliah digabung nek. Kerja sambil kuliah, kuliah sambil kerja. Ngono iki.
Universitas Tekkom, Universitas Tekkom, Universitas Tekkom, Universitas Tekkom.
Universitas Tekkom kuliahnya menyenangkan.
Tekkom University has long been engaged in the development of education and technology, contributing to the preparation of learners and educators to navigate the demands of a rapidly evolving world. And before we move into today's discussion, a gentle reminder to remain attentive through the session. Please feel free to submit your question via the chat box and kindly ensure that you complete the attendance form when the link is shared during the Q&A segment. And this evening, we will explore a topic that is increasingly relevant in diverse learning environment about building thinking classroom, a way to promote an inclusive classroom. As classroom become more diverse in terms of student abilities, backgrounds, and ways of thinking, educators are called challenged to design learning space that encourage active thinking, meaningful participation, and inclusion for all learners. This session will focus on reflective and practical perspective on how classroom design and instructional approaches can support inclusive learning experiences. And we are honored to welcome Ms. Nini Budiastuti from IGI Kota Bogor, who will share insight and experiences related to building thinking-oriented classroom that promote inclusion and student engagement. And guiding us through this session is our moderator, Ms. Zalfa Gita Salsabila from Tekkom University, who will facilitate the discussion and help connect key ideas through the webinar. Once again, welcome to this evening session. Without further ado, I would like to invite our moderator, Ms. Zalfa Gita Salsabila, to lead us into today's discussion. Let us engage, reflect, and learn together. Ms. Zalfa.
Hello, yes.
Okay,
how are
time is
you?
yours. Yeah, I'm fine. Thank you.
I'm sorry for my inconvenience with the camera. I have like some technical
Okay,
issue.
never mind.
I will do
But
that.
the sound is clearly.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Halo, Miss Zalfa.
Ms. Zalfa.
Halo, Miss Zalfa.
Yes.
Time is yours.
Please, time is yours.
Okay. Good evening, good distinguished teachers and participants from across Indonesia and beyond. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Zalfa Gita Salsabila from Tekkom University, and I am honored to serve you as your moderator for today's webinar. Thank you to UT Jabar in collaboration with the international division with EIG from Kota Bogor for organizing this insightful program. Tonight we explore a very relevant and inspiring topic, building thinking classroom, a way to promote an inclusive classroom. In today's inclusive education landscape, teachers play a vital role not only in delivering content, but also in cultivating critical, creative, and independent thinking across all learners. Before we begin, allow me to introduce our esteemed speaker, Ms. Nini Budiastuti, board member of IT Kota Bogor, born and raised also in Bogor, and hold a bachelor's degree in biology from IPB University. And currently teaching mathematics at school Bogor Raya for both junior high and senior high school levels. With her strong academic background and dedication to education, she is well known for promoting independent structure and critical thinking in the classroom, the core of our today's topic. Without further ado, let us welcome our speaker for tonight, to Ms. Nini Budiastuti. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Miss. How should I call you? Gita?
You can call me Gita. Yes, that's my nickname.
Okay. Thank you, Miss Gita. Your name is just like my daughter's name.
Oh, really? Yes. I called a lot my names. It's really familiar with people in Indonesia.
That's true. Good evening, Bapak Ibu. It is a pleasure to meet you again this evening in this webinar. And tonight I would like to share a little bit about how I deliver the lesson in a classroom. Let me share my presentation. Let me check first. Okay. All good, yeah? All right. So this is our topic, building thinking classroom. It is one of the method that probably start to rise lately. And in my own perspective, it is also one of many ways that we can promote an inclusive classroom. But before that, let me introduce myself. My name is Ninik Budiastuti. I love math, I love books, I love the world of education, and those loves bring me here to share with you. I was about to put my link in here. That's okay. Bapak Ibu, how are you feeling today? Do you need coffee just like me? Or are you still surviving the administration? Or you are good and ready to join the webinar? Or you are number 4 excited to learn? Can you type how are you feeling this evening? Maybe you can type in the chat so that I can see how ready you are. Okay, I got one from Padidi Effendi. I couldn't see the emote though. Which one is that? Good and ready? Excited to learn? Ibu Ratna Ningsi. Nice, number 4. Ibu Sri, good. Oh, our moderator surviving the administration. Relax. It's a hump day. In no time, it will be weekend again, right? After Wednesday, in a blink, weekend already. Oh, need coffee. Same here, miss. Would you like to share a cup of coffee with me? Okay, it's good to know that you are here. Some of you still need to survive the administration, but put some times and effort to be with us, while some other are ready to learn one or two new things here. All right, inclusive classroom. Do you mind to type in the chat room when you hear about inclusive classroom? What do you have in your mind? No need to bother about the grammar. Just type whatever you want to say. It's okay. And even if you want to type in Bahasa Indonesia, it's also okay. Because I understand. So please, Bapak Ibu, when you hear inclusive classroom, what do you have in your mind? The question is about the inclusive classroom. Maybe Bapak Ibu can type the answer. Okay, I got one response here. Optimally learn. Every student with different modality or cognitive level got the same learning experience. Okay, what else? A special classroom. Can you elaborate more, Miss Tia? What does it mean with a special classroom? Is it especially designed with wonderful equipment? Or is it flexible teaching method? Okay. When all of the students feel comfortable. Any other idea? Okay, probably that's all. Pretty much. We will see. But before that, I have this fun fact first. Yeah, Bapak Ibu can type true or false based on this statement. An inclusive classroom only refers to a classroom that has students with already diagnosed physical or learning disability. Bapak Ibu, do you agree with this statement or not? Please type true or false. True if you agree, false if you disagree with it. Only when there is a student who already diagnosed with physical or learning disability, then that is an inclusive classroom. Okay, I got a true, I got a false, 1, 1. I got 3 false. And I also got a question whether an ADHD is a disability. What do you think, Bapak Ibu? Is ADHD a disability? As far as I know, which is very limited because I'm not my background is not psychology. ADHD is a condition where when the students or the children cannot focus. So yeah, it is, I guess we can say it is a disability, but how severe the students, the condition is that might vary from one student to another, and it does need further examination. Yeah, because some students with mild ADHDs are still able to join the class normally, like any other students. But some with a more severe condition probably need the special attention. Okay, so I got 3 false and 1 true. Let's see. What does the UNESCO say about inclusive classroom? So UNESCO stated that inclusive education comprises improving the educational system ability to reach all learners in a way that promote fairness for all learners, particularly those with disability. Yeah, and one of the types of the disability is what was just mentioned before, that is ADHD. So it is a classroom, it's a regular classroom where the instruction is well designed so that all students can participate meaningfully. All students, yeah. And who's included? It's including the introvert student, the hyperactive student, the slow writer student, slow in mathematics student, probably those who have a speaking delay, the gifted student, and student with any disabilities, whether it is physical or other disability. Yeah, Bapak Ibu. So it doesn't have to be diagnosed like I'm going back. It doesn't have to be diagnosed with physical or learning disabilities. Yeah. Because the gifted student, no one will say that they have difficulty in learning. But when the classroom can accommodate all the differences, then that is an inclusive classroom. Now, when we imagining an inclusive classroom where the students are diverse with a very different background, what do you have in your mind? What do you think the situation look like, Bapak Ibu? Can you share a bit, or probably you have an experience in your classroom? How does it look like teaching in the school in Indonesia? What kind of classroom do you have? How many students do you have? Do you have these learning disability students in your classroom? How many of you have those kind of students? Probably can share in the chat room. Ada Bapak Ibu yang whose student have learning? Oh, I have Miss Ayu raise hand. Have one only.
Hello, good evening, Miss Nick.
Good evening, Miss Ayu. Would you like to share your story about the condition of your class and your student?
Okay. Yes, I want to share, but I'm sorry, I cannot on the camera.
That's okay.
Okay. So for the disability students, actually, I had some experience with the disabled students. Like 3 years ago, I had like the autism students, and it's really, really challenging for me, yeah, to handle the student. Yeah, and then for this year, I also have the disability student where he is like little bit low with the understanding with the subject. Yeah, so especially like for bahasa Indonesia or IPAS. Yeah, but he is really good in English.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah, that's the he is in good at was for the English, but for like yeah, so bahasa or IPAS is like uh he really he needs to know like the meaning of each word like Miss
ah,
ini artinya
yeah,
apa ini
yeah.
artinya apa gitu like yeah, I have to be patient to explain to him. But actually, he is really a good student and always try to finish the task. Yeah, even though he needs more time to finish the task. Yeah, but he always give his effort to finish his task.
Wonderful.
Yeah,
Thank you,
he
Miss.
is really wonderful. Yes.
Thank you
Thank
for
you
your
for
sharing.
listening. Yeah.
Okay, Bapak Ibu, anyone else who has this special learner in your class this year probably, or maybe in the past you encounter one or two students? None? Okay. Not so long ago, I have a discussion with one of the uh, teachers from one of the SMP Negeri in Bogor, where she said the classroom, I don't know, typical classroom nowadays, how many students say in a class? Is it 30? Correct? The reality of teaching in Indonesia, you have the quite big classroom size, if I'm not mistaken. Is it 30, 40 nowadays? My school, I have 20 students in each class. And then I am blessed, like Miss Ayu, I am blessed with a special needs students. This year, the one who has been diagnosed with autism, but each and every year, these special students always put under my supervision. So yeah, more or less I know a bit about them. My autism students is not that difficult to handle, although sometimes he's really good with mathematics. He's really good with his English. He's lucky because the school delivered the lesson in English, but he has problem with languages. Yeah, with Bahasa Indonesia, I mean. And he's really good in math, but when he's dealing with a pretty long sentence, it's quite difficult. He's very his love language is touching, so he always touch. Sometimes he hug me, sometimes he squeeze me because he's pretty big. But that's what I face in a class. My classroom size is not that big, so yeah, I am blessed with a small, only 20 students. Oh, cannot speak. Probably yeah, more to a more severe spectrum, yeah. Or probably because of what's therapy. If therapy is done early, I believe it can help them, yeah. So classroom size probably become problem, and then limited resources Resources here, not only the human resources, but also the knowledge. Yeah. Wide gap of students' ability. When the classroom size is pretty big, so the gap will also be wider, and I can imagine how difficult it is to handle. Moreover, because the limit of human resources in my school, I am blessed because I have 2 dedicated counselor for junior high school students only, with the help of psychologists, our own psychologists who always come to school, and then another counselor like the general one. We also have counselor for the high school. Yeah, so the counselor room is basically like one room with a lot of people who are willing to help. Oh, I get some reply here. We have hyperactive student in the branch, but not with disabled or handicapped body part. Oh yeah, we put them in private classes, not mixed with regular. Oh, they treated with the same education, but with different, more senior, more capable female teachers. Yeah, hyperactive. My students who has autism also have a mild hyperactive, so sometimes he cannot sit still. But his mom always take him to jog like 15 to 30 minutes in the morning to make sure that his energy released before he go to school. Oh, I also have here, I have a lovely student with meningitis. Oh, after one task. Oh, always sleep, yeah. Because she have to take her medicine. All right, you are blessed. It is enrich our experience, ya Bapak Ibu, when we have this kind of students. I once have a very in a borderline. It's more to psychological disorder. Borderline. Whenever he came to school, sometimes he is happy. When he is happy, he can discuss, he can communicate with me, with his friends nicely. But when his mood switch to a more darker mood, he just sit there, close his head with his hand, and sleep, because he didn't take his medicine. He already has therapy. He met with the psychologist, not psychologist, psychiater, but sometimes he just refuses to drink his medicine, so he cannot perform normally. So yeah, that's what happened in the classroom. That kind of classroom that we have, and sometimes with good human resources who can help us, those kind of students has their own shadow teacher. But I believe the school like my own, the place where I work is really limited in Indonesia. More often than not, that Bapak Ibu are left without any help, without any resources, without any support. So you just handle your student your own, whether you know how to handle them properly or not. Yeah. So that leaves us with, there's no option but to teach the middle ones, because that's simple for us. Because if we want to reach everyone, it will make us burn out, right? We get to think everything at the same time. we tend to leave the struggling behind and the gifted one bored. I believe Bapak Ibu know about differentiated learning. Have you tried? What kind of differentiated learning that you ever try, Bapak Ibu? If you can share your experience. Yeah, in a non-formal education institution without any clear guidance, I believe whether it is in a formal or in a non-formal education, having these special students, I believe it is quite challenging. Wherever we teach, ya, Bapak Ibu. Okay, whether you try, I have tried many ways. I have envisioned a differentiated learning where I prepare different worksheet for different need, which leaving me exhausted, which left me stressed out, burnout, and I keep on saying that I failed. But then I read this book, yeah, Building Thinking Classroom, and without I realize, I implemented differentiated learning. So instead of preparing different questions for different students, different set of worksheet, I can prepare tasks, low floor, high ceiling tasks. What is that? Low floor tasks are the tasks that are accessible and can be done by all students. Yeah, probably a simple, if it's in math, because number cruncher, simple mathematical lesson, but I can twist it a bit so that it become a high ceiling, a task that have ample space for the exploration. So it's not only one can have different answer. It's not only everyone can explore based on their prior knowledge, but it also give them more room to build their knowledge through it. Yeah. So when we put together a low floor and high ceiling tasks, will become a rigorous task to keep all the students engaged. So that's what we want, yeah. The students to be engaged so that they will not disturb the class. And they are the one who do the thinking. Because when the smart one feel like it is boring, I know this already, especially in math, yeah, the gap is pretty wide. When the students are really good in math, like they took Kumon elsewhere, their Kumon already reached level pretty high level, then SMP questions won't be challenging anymore. But this kind of tasks will keep them engaged because it's not like a number cruncher. They have to think, they can discuss with their friend as well. Now, Bapak Ibu, I have these choices. What is your biggest hurdle in the classroom, whether it is managing the noises or the behavior in the group? Or is your problem in the class, your biggest problem in the class is passive student who won't speak up? They're just sitting there looking at you, but we don't know whether they understood or not. Or is it the gap between high and low achiever is too big? Or probably D, fear for not finishing the curriculum. Please Bapak Ibu, mari kita ramaikan the chat. You can type A, B, C, D based on your biggest hurdle or the biggest problem that you face in your classroom. Silakan Bapak Ibu. Your biggest challenge that you face in the classroom? Oh, I get the answer here. One, fear of not finishing the curriculum. Anyone have the same problem with Ibu Sri Damayanti? Or maybe you don't have any problem at all. More answer? More answer? No? No problem? All is good in my class. I can manage the behavior. Oh, there's no option for make the students engage. Okay, probably that's a passive students, yeah. I guess it's belong to part B, or they are not passive, but they don't want to participate. Could be. Okay. The man struggle to get close emotionally with the student. Why, Miss Gita? Why is it difficult to get close with the students, emotionally close with the students? This is interesting. Would you like to share, Miss Gita?
Yes, why I share that because sometimes with a lot of people and a different kind of varieties with the students, different background, we as a teacher or a lecturer, we have to understand their deeper thinking of in emotional way because in teaching something we have to know their struggle, we have to know how they could receive the information with their own way. So sometimes with a lot of people it's getting a little bit quite challenging.
Okay. Understood. Especially if you are a lecturer, yeah, where the students are they start to feel like they can do because they are no longer in formal school like SMA anymore. They feel like they grow up already, but still not fully developed yet. I can imagine that. Yeah. Okay, Bapak Ibu, I would like to share my own hurdle that I face until I encounter this building thinking classroom book. Yeah. So at the time, as a math teacher, I have this situation where my students are just sitting there looking like they look like they are paying attention. They seems like they took notes, or when I give them task to do, they scribble. They look like they're busy, but when I went around, nothing's done. Yeah. Then when it came to the exam, or when it came to the classwork, graded classwork, if it's a graded one, I usually tell them that they cannot talk to their friends, but they can see their notes because they rarely took notes. So of course there's nothing, and you can imagine the score pretty low. What they did basically is just waiting for me until I lost patience, or if I put the timer there, they're just waiting for the alarm to goes off. Then I will explain, I will discuss. Then what they do is just copying their work. So Bapak Ibu, when you observe that kind of classroom, who do you think did the thinking? Was it me or my student? Of course, we all know, yeah, that the one who's doing the thinking was me. As a teacher, I'm happy. Oh, yeah, my student cannot do the work. I teach them. I show them. I tell them the step by step what to do. But honestly, Bapak Ibu, that is not the kind of classroom that I want to see. That is not the kind of students that I want to have, because I know how to solve the problem already. And as their teacher, as their educator, what I want is that my students do the thinking and not just waiting and copying whatever I say. And even when I made mistakes, sometimes they just clueless. They don't know if I made some mistake on the process, for example, until probably 1 or 2 students who realize that. And those are a very good student who usually have a lively discussion with the teacher, because I know they are smart, of course, yeah. So that is my concern. That was the problem that I faced, that I start to change my strategy of teaching. And then one day, without, I forget what happened, but I encountered this book, Building Thinking Classroom, written by Dr. Peter Higdal. This is actually in mathematics, but lately, if I'm not mistaken, this year, no, last year, there's was a penerbit, ya, penerbit buku who started to give a seminar about this topic, building thinking classroom in other subject. So it is we can implement this in any other subject. If Bapak Ibu, you are a math teacher, you can also join a Facebook. What's the name again? Facebook group or something? Or is it community? I forget the name. But there is community of teachers where they learn and share about building thinking classroom in math. Yeah. So Dr. Peter Lidjadal here, I don't know how to pronounce his name properly. Yeah, hopefully that's correct. He's been in the research for more than 20 years, if I'm not mistaken. And he has been visiting more than 40 classroom in Canada when he had this research. He visit all classes and he encountered the same problem. He always asks, when he asked permission to go to the school, he asked to visit the best classroom with the best teacher. And then the problem is always the same. Yeah, that's true. I agree, Ibu Arta, yeah. Students are not thinking because we don't ask them to think. We only lecture. Correct. But even when I stop lecturing, yes, sometimes I ask them to do the work. I ask them to try first. They reluctant to try. So in all of those school, in all of those classes, he encountered the same problem where the students are mimicking or copying, like what happened in my classroom. They are faking, they are pretending to be busy, they are slacking. Slacking means they show that they are disengaged, they are not interested with whatever they say. Some students are stalling and just waiting for the time to finish, waiting for the lesson to finish. They can pretend that they are doing something, they erase, they rewrite, pretending to be busy. Some very limited students really try it based on the example given by the teacher. So in my typical classroom, I start with, okay, we're going to discuss A, B, C, D. This is how you find this. This is how you find that. When I do that, I put my student in a place where, in my opinion, my student cannot solve their own problem. I put them like I have to feed them something before they can do it. If I'm not showing them how and what to do, they cannot answer. But that is not the truth, Bapak Ibu, because when I tried the step given in this building thinking classroom, I found out that my students can think and they're really happy. Yeah. So briefly, I will share the toolkits that we can do to start this. So now this is my typical classroom. I have this visibly random group. Why it has to be visible? Because we want to, we want them to work, to cooperate with each other, with everyone in the classroom, not only with my best friend, not only with the one that I feel comfortable with. Because in reality, in life, we cannot choose who will we work with, right? I can work with the one who are really good. I can work with, we can have this colleague in our place who are really dependent on us, or those who doesn't want to work at all, but they want to get credit for. So school should be a safe place where students can learn and handle that kind of situation. That's why it is a visible random group, and why it has to be random, so that they know that we are not pilih kasih ya. Oh yeah, okay. Sometimes my students ask, can we change the group? I always say no, because I always randomize every meeting. And why is it a group of 3? Because if it's too much, they become group arisan. They're no longer working together to study and solve the problem. Yeah, instead they gossip. So, a group of 3, randomize every meeting. My students no longer complaining because they know it's only for that particular session. And then the next meeting, they can work with other students again. Why is it for inclusion? When we randomize the group, we break social barrier. That means everyone got a chance to work with everyone. And then why is it good for inclusive classroom? Because the smart kids get to explain, and the struggling kids get the time to learn, to participate, and no one feels left out. What if, so here is the situation in was that in building thinking classroom situation. Yeah. So I have this vertical non-permanent surface. In the real one is that each group have their own board, But sometimes we don't have that. Sometimes we don't have that whiteboard. We can have window where students can jot down using marker, yeah, erasable pen or whatever it is, or pencil, or probably wall covered with paper. In my own class, I use A3 paper, yeah, because I don't have I don't have enough whiteboard for everyone. Nah, then the student will start working on the task given on that vertical. Why is it vertical? Why not putting on the table? The students sit in a group, like a typical classwork. Students sit and then go around. Sit around a table. The paper put horizontally on the table. Why not like that? Why it has to be vertical? Because when you put it on the table, I can read the question properly, but my friend who sit in front of me, they cannot, right? They have to read it upside down, so it's not good. Yeah, somebody will get benefit more and the other get a problem, get a barrier to be able to read the question properly. That's why it has to be vertically. And why is it non-permanent surface where they can erase? Yeah. Mistakes are safe, and remove or erase the mistake is acceptable. It give them a sense of ease, especially for those students who are perfectionists. Yeah, they just don't want to leave something wrong or a red mark on their paper. So erase it, give them that safe environment. Standing, it also helps students with ADHD and to be able to engage more in a more productive way. Okay, next is the task itself. So these are the toolkits, just 3, but this is sufficient. First, I will randomize the group. I prepare the task up front. I can usually, the ideal situation is that I prepare the task. I gather the student come forward in front of the whiteboard, the big whiteboard, and then I tell them the story. Like, for example, I think I have an example here. This is for primary students here. In how many ways, this is a very simple question. In how many ways can you make a 10? This question you can give to grade 2 students, grade 3, grade 4, grade 5, grade 6, even lower secondary students. Yeah. In how many ways you can make a 10? One student can say 5 added by 5. Probably the other can say 6 added by 4. The other can say 20 divided by 2. A more difficult answer can be obtained from simply asking them, how can you get a 10? That is the thinking task that they can jot down as many as possible on the vertical non-permanent surface. Another thing is that each group can only have one marker or one pen or one pencil if they prefer to use pencil. Then, to make sure that everyone can discuss, to make sure that everyone can participate, the one who is writing cannot say anything, cannot think, because sometimes the one who's good in mathematics, they just want to write without orally explain to their friends, right? I have a students who just take the pencil, do all the work. It doesn't matter how difficult the question is. They're just doing it themselves without any conversation. And students who are not comfortable in doing math, the tendency is that they just they're waiting for their friends to finish the work, right? So the strategy is the one who's writing is not the one to explain, to think. Yeah, so the secretary, the one who's writing, just writing whatever their friends say. If they want to discuss first, they stop writing and then discuss, and then choose who's going to write the answer and the step. And if I go around, because I will go around and check all the groups, if I go around and I feel like this particular student has been holding the pen for quite too long, so I have because I'm the teacher, I can take their pen and give it to the other member of the group. And I will go around holding red pen so that if I saw something interesting or I saw something that is wrong, I can circle, I can give limited clue. Sometimes my students want to go from and check other group. It is okay if they feel like they need that what's that? They need to see the answer from the other class, from the other group. It is okay. Yeah. So at the beginning, they tend to do that a lot. Checking, comparing the answer, is it correct or not? But sometimes I give different question. Back again, this is can be a tool, can be a way to elevate the inclusive classroom, to elevate the differentiated classroom. So I choose to give different questions. If I saw that, oh, this group of students are really good, so I give a more challenging question to them and let them handle a more sophisticated, a more challenging problem. And then if I know that this group of students, because it was randomized, this group of students are quite low in mathematics, so I can give them a hint, I can give them clue, I can give them additional scaffolding information so they all can answer. That is, those are the toolkits, these three: random, vertical non-permanent surface, and thinking task. The most difficult thing here, the most difficult thing to prepare is the thinking task, of course. Now this is the example in math. Yeah, like I told you before, in how many ways can you make 10? I also have this story, like my student really like this. They thought it is a game. I gave them number, and then I asked them in how will you arrange the numbers so that the sum on the left and the sum on the right will be equal. So I give them number, any number, then they will add. They will start to add. It's not really random actually. Then they start to put the number, 3 numbers on the left and 3 numbers on the right, then add them until they get the same value for the left and the right one. They really like doing it. Then this one, also an example in math, which one doesn't belong? There's no right or wrong answer because they have to justify the answer. I can say that the rhombus doesn't belong, but probably Miss Gita think that the trapezoid doesn't belong because she has her own answer and justification, and I have my own justification. And what being built here is the way that the critical thinking and how they can give explanation mathematically, how fluent they are in using mathematic terminology to answer. That is in math. We can also see other example. For example, this is in languages. It can be in Bahasa or in English, which is character anatomy, where student asked to draw an outline of the character, empty one because it's just an outline, and then outside of the body, what people see, the external traits of the character. There's no wrong, there is no right here. It gives them time to think. And the inside body, the internal feeling, based on the book, for example, because this is, I guess this is taken from language art, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. The internal feeling, how this character feel all through the book that they read. So this is an example in languages where we can use in Bahasa Indonesia or in English. And then this is an example for history or PPKN, timeline shuffle. So on the board, the teacher can jot down 5 events that related to Indonesian Independence Day out of order, and then the instruction is to put them in order, and then you can ask them to put arrow to give cause and effect that relate those events. And probably you can also ask them to explain a more detailed situation regarding the events that you already jot down on the board. So these are some examples that you can do where the students are not just listening, they don't need a prior knowledge. But of course, if it's in language, probably, yeah, you have to read first. But when they come, it's no longer discussion between the students and the teachers, right? It is a discussion between them, between the students. And then here in the history event here, the students, I believe you can have this mixing between the thinking classroom and the regular classroom first, where you can explain the story, and then you can have this, or this is as an opening so that you know how familiar they are with the situation happen around Independence Day. We see the students as students who can decide, as students who have the ability to think, not only sitting there taking notes. Yeah, Bapak Ibu. Now, how to start? Even in the book stated that you can start small. Make a doable changes. Start from simple activities. I tried this method the first time 2 years ago. I was only using problem given in the book, and I only did it in the first week of the new school year. I was using a non-curricular, it's not related with the topic that I was about to discuss with the students. So it was a trial, something fun to get to know my student. It turns out they are happy and they keep on nagging. Ibu, come on, when will you do that again? When will we play that game again? My student thought it is a game. So I start changing some of my tasks. I thin slice my questions. I give help whenever needed. I even use it for algebra class. Yeah, I set question. I set a task where I don't need to explain, but they can solve it themselves because they already went through some topic related to that before. The prior knowledge is there already. So that's what I did. Start small, start simple. And if you don't have the vertical whiteboard, I use A3 paper. And nowadays we have that laminated, was it called laminating paper or what? It's some sort of plastic where you can, without the glue, you can paste it on the wall. And if you are going to move to other class, you can peel it off and stick it again in other place. There is that. You can buy it in Gramedia, if I'm not mistaken. I forget the name. But I have those kind of things now in my class. The class will look chaotic. That's true. From the perspective that I have this, when I first trying this, I asked my principal to come to my class and ask him, please see. Oh, at first I have other math teacher to came to my class to observe my class because I have no experience about it. My experience only from reading the book. So I asked the other math teacher to observe me, and then we have a discussion. And then I also asked my principal to came and observe to see how it work, in what way I can improve my teaching. And then we have that nice discussion. Then the other math teacher, a young one, a new math teacher came and observed my class. So in my school, everyone are free to come and observe other teachers. It has been done like that for quite a long time. So we are, we never feel like we're being judged when just anyone came and want to see our class. So this young teacher came to my class. At the end of the meeting, we have a discussion. And then what he said that the class looked chaotic. Indeed, because everyone is speaking at the same time. However, I try to ask my student to lower their voice because everyone are speaking at the same time, and I want them to be able to hear the discussion within the group. So yeah, but if you see that sometimes the student run from one group to another, they want to see and they don't want to like, you can see that you tell them that they are cheating, so they sometimes run, like pretending that they take something from the table while they are picking other group. So yeah, the class look chaotic, but the learning is there, the lesson is there. And at the end of every lesson, I have this consolidation time where we discuss about the activities has been done, we check the knowledge, we check that we have this common understanding during this consolidation time. And I also ask the student to have to answer exit ticket. That's really help because of course I need to know whether their discussion is really fruitful, whether they're really discussing the topic that I want them to discuss or not. Yeah, Now the question is, how does the work graded? Right, Bapak Ibu? Because of course we need the score. So during the discussion, prepare a checklist or a rubric for collaboration and communication. Yeah, because sometimes it is what we want to see. This is what is important. These things are important, but sometimes we miss it because the school is not the place for the students to learn just mathematics, not the place for them to learn just biology, just any sciences, any lesson. But it is a place where the students learn to collaborate, to communicate, to work together with their friends, because that is the reality in life. You are not graded based on your counting skill when you are in daily life. When you go to the become a citizen, right? Because we get help from calculator, we get help from whatever tools that we have to do our work, but we are graded based on our ability to work together. So to prepare a checklist will help us in grade students. At the end of the lesson, I always give exit ticket tasks to check students' understanding. The author of the book himself is not against homework, but the homework is not something to be graded. When the students are happy with the work, when the students are engaged already, the students tend to want to learn more. Although he said, do not call it as a homework, but as practice. You can name it whatever you want to name it, as long as not homework, which sometimes feels like burden for the students. And never grade the homework, never grade the tasks given that they can bring home, but always prepare ample of worksheet that they can take, because once they feel like they like to do it, they will finish the work in a blink, and you don't need to push them, because when they did it, it comes from the understanding that they need to do it. Yeah, Bapak Ibu, instead of okay, I have to do it because my teacher will check, I have to do it because my mom asked me to do it. No. Then the exit ticket is just around 5 questions in mathematics, or maybe if it's in other lesson, you can have them to rewrite. For example, if it's like the history task before, yeah, the jumble timeline, you can ask them to put the timeline, to put the event in their own word, so that you know whether or not they understand the task being discussed. Yeah, and we can also grade this exit ticket. Yeah, this also help in preparing for the next lesson, whether they already understand or do we need to repeat the same or similar task with different variation. So these are the key takeaway from this evening discussion in Building Thinking Classroom. It is an inclusive classroom where everyone belongs, everyone feels seen, and then we need to have a thinking task where everyone can contribute to the task. It doesn't matter their level of knowledge, because you are there to support them, and you can give sufficient support to those who really need to get a support. Yeah, and you can just leave those who are already good and give a more challenging problem for them to solve. and not to forget the practical board where we can make the thinking visible. So it is not just not just some random discussion. They are busy discussing about the event they are going to visit, or probably some past event or some hot gossip there. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, I think that's about it. It's time for the question. I will give my time back to Miss Gita.
Yes, thank you very much. That is an inspiring session, and thank you for Miss Unique. I believe all of us here are feeling refreshed and energized after hearing your insights. Thank you very much. And we will continue with our session with question and answer, where participants can interact directly with our speaker. And dear participant, if you may have a question through the chat box, please feel free to type your name and your question clearly. We will select several questions to be answered by Miss Mini right away. I think we can wait for a moment. Maybe some participants will. Yes, we have the first question in here from Kirana. How can thinking classroom support students with the different learning needs so that everyone feels included and valued? And maybe for Miss Monique, you can answer it.
Okay. In a thinking classroom, student with different ability can work together. And then for those students who still feel like not comfortable with a certain subject, they can wait and have a discussion first before they can write the answer, because the task will be given in up front, right? And then there's a task given for everyone. Then as a teacher, I will go around and visit the group. I will see how the discussion going on. And when I see that a certain group are struggling, then I can give help. I can give clue to that particular group so that they can answer the question without me giving the answer. So what I did is just giving some clues to the students until they can answer the question. So everyone will feel included, everyone will feel valued, because it's not only the one who are good in that lesson, not only that those particular smart student who answer question. And if you hear from the beginning that student can only have one marker or one pen to write the answer, and they are going to take turn in holding the pen, so everyone will feel valued, even if they learn from their friends by writing the answer from their friends who are already good in that certain topic. And I believe after that, the student will feel more comfortable in voicing the answer, and as time goes by, they will grow and being more confident in answering the question. Yeah. Hopefully that answer. Ibu
Okay,
Kiran.
thank you very much, Ms. Nick, for the clear explanation. Maybe we could go next to the questions. We have from Abigail. The question would be, what kind of classroom routines or activities can help students become more independent thinkers, especially in diverse classrooms?
Yeah. The most difficult thing is to prepare the task. What kind of task? So this is actually what I explained just now is the classroom routine. I never start. Whenever I want to use this method, I never start the lesson with explanation. So I start the class with question. When I start the lesson with the task to be solved, then everyone will think. So that's push them to become a thinker. Probably it is difficult at the beginning, but don't give up. Try again, even if you feel like the students are still waiting for you to give them the answer. Okay. Hopefully that answer ya, Ibu Abigail.
Yes, thank you. We have several questions in here. The next one is from Siti Amalia. And how can random grouping help reduce learning gaps among students?
Yeah. So the random grouping makes sure that the student work with everyone in a class. So it's not only the smart one with the smart one, and those who are left behind are always left behind because it is randomized, and the teacher makes sure that it is random and everyone can see it is random. So if today the smart one have to work with the one who are not really good in mathematics, for example, then that's okay. That will reduce the learning gap, because as we know that when the students learn from their peer, the knowledge gap is, or their barrier, language barrier is getting smaller, and usually they understand more when their friends or their peer who are explained to them instead of the teacher. Yeah, that's what I experienced. The grouping help in reducing the learning gap.
Thank you, Miss. We have next question from Sri Damayanti, Kota Bogor. Teachers need special knowledge and training in order to teach in inclusive class. Oh, it's not a question, it's a statement. And what do you think about it?
Yeah, I agree. Of course, especially when the special needs students are very difficult to handle, for example, because of a very severe situation, like very severe autism, for example, then not all teachers can handle them properly. And sometimes I still need to call the counselor to help me, especially if especially because I have other students in the classroom where I also need to pay attention to their needs to learn, right? Not only this one particular student. So yeah, I agree with that.
And I want to ask Miss Nick, yeah, is it a need if the teacher should have a certificate to teach in inclusive class?
Certificate, Ibu?
Yes. So before they take in inclusive class, so they have to the good knowledge or background knowledge about how to teach the disability students.
Yeah. I don't have any certificate for that, Ibu, but I do learn from the experience. So if what you mean by knowledge is that you participate in a proper training first, yes, I agree with that. But we do, the school prepare us and send us to several training, especially because we have quite a lot of special needs students in our school. That's why the school also prepare with the proper counselor.
It should be government prepare it actually.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
Correct, Ibu.
Okay. Thank you, Miss Nick.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Let's move on to the next question. It's, in your opinion, does technology help or distract students in a thinking classroom? We have a bold statement in here, of course.
Technology help or distract in building thinking classroom. Not technology is used. It's only paper and their own brain. So especially because I'm teaching math, so we don't need anything aside from our brain, paper and pencil. So yeah, we believe it back again. What do we want to build? Actually, if you want them to be able to think critically and not, they don't need to find any information related to the task given, so technology will be just a distraction. But if you want them to find proper information, then technology is beneficial. So we cannot just put it as in black and white, like technology is not good, technology is good. No, it depends on the situation and it's based on your own judgment as a teacher. I think that's answer.
Okay, thank you very much. I hope the answer satisfies the participants. And the next one is from Anton Permadi. How can schools and other formal, non-formal edu institutions make inclusion real for students with disabilities, not just a policy on paper?
By accepting those students. If we say inclusive, but we only accept students who are quote unquote normal, so it will never become an inclusive. Or if you want to have an inclusive institution, but you only provide stair, there's no ramp, how can it become an inclusive institution? Because those who need to use wheelchair won't be able to go up the stair. So yeah, we need to be more open if you want to become an inclusive institution.
Thank you, Ms. Minik. The next one is, what are the simple step teachers can take to start building a thinking classroom tomorrow?
I'm sorry, could you please repeat?
Yes, it's from Siti Amalia. And the question is, what are simple steps teachers can take to start building a thinking classroom tomorrow?
Yeah, you just need to think about the task and then prepare the paper that you hang around the classroom. Usually, the most difficult thing is to prepare that low floor, high ceiling task. But you can find quite a lot of low floor, high ceiling tasks in the internet, or you can also start searching what's the name again? Forget, non-routine task on the internet, where you can have those. Or you can also find, because I know Ibu Amel is teaching math, you can find some information from enrichmath.org. They have quite a lot of questions or quite a lot of tasks where you can use and start tomorrow right away, because what you need is just the task and the paper and the students.
Okay, thank you, Smith. And the next one is from Tia. In your opinion, how do we provide safe learning for special students with students with disabilities without making them feel different?
Depends on how different they are, what kind of special needs students or what kind of disability do they have. If it's like physical, this is what I learned this year, how my students perceive me as a totally different person. So this is the background. My students usually saw me as a very strict teacher, but this year they saw me as a compassionate, jadi guru yang sabar, padahal saya tidak sabar. Tapi when they saw how I handle this special kid, special boy in my class, the one with this autism, and they compare how the previous teacher handled him, they saw a different me. Yeah, they saw. So how can we make them feeling included is by include them. Let us, as the adult, give a good example. If we, as the adult, making fun of those kids, of course they will feel left behind. Of course, the other kid will make fun of them. But if we always respect, we include them in any activity, we show compassion toward them, the other students will do the same as what we do. Yeah, Miss Tia.
Okay, thank you. We have next question from Arta Sinamo. How do you prepare your lesson plan to make sure a lesson will be a thinking classroom? What are the different with ordinary lesson plan?
I don't have a different lesson plan, just a usual lesson plan as like what I usually have. It's just I prepare a different task, not the planning. The different thing is just I'm no longer saying, but the goal is still. In my school, the lesson plan is very simple. It's just consists of opening activity where I can just put the task I want to give as the opening activity, and then the main activity where I can put some other informations regarding the additional tasks, for example, that I want to give, and then as the closure, I can put that exit ticket questions. So basically, whether I use the thinking classroom or just a regular classroom or regular method, it's just the same. There's nothing special, there's nothing different. What makes different is just the task that I give, because I need to sometimes I need to thin slice the question. I need to make sure that they can do it without even if they don't have a prior knowledge, they can follow the step by step easily.
Okay, thank you, Miss. We have the last question from Siti Amalia. What mindset shift is most important for teachers who want to create inclusive classroom?
That we are living in an inclusive world because we cannot just live with those people that similar to us, right? With the same characteristic, with the same what's that? With common interests. We actually live in a very diverse situation where people have different interests, people have different value, and sometimes we also encounter people with physical disability. So an inclusive classroom is something that we cannot avoid. We will face it, whether those with a superior knowledge or superior IQ, or those with a very low IQ. So it's just because school is supposed to be a smaller version of the world, so I guess we don't need that big changes in our mind, yeah, to accept that, because it's the reality that we face daily. Okay.
Okay, thank you. We have the next question from Arta Sinamo. My opinion on mindset shift are from teaching to thinking, from content to meaning, content meaning. And it's a statement.
I agree.
Do you agree with that?
Yeah.
Miss Nini?
Thank you for putting that nicely, Ibu Arta.
Okay, thank you very much, Miss Nini,
My
for
pleasure.
tonight's webinar and your insightful presentation for us. We have new insight and we have been refreshed with your and energized with your presentation. And before we close our today's session, as we come to the end today, I would like to ask you about how is your could you share your journey toward creating an inclusive thinking classroom? What challenges did you face in the early stages, and what was there are turning point that made you commit strongly to this teaching approach in inclusive thinking classroom?
Okay. Thank you, Miss Gita. The biggest challenges is actually in preparing the task because I was clueless. How does it look like? And I bought the books, I read the books, but the task given there is just simple tasks for primary students instead of for secondary. But then I start to check, I start to read more, and then looking from that group in Facebook where I can find some questions related to the topic that I discuss. And yeah, so I start to the turning point is because my student keep on nagging me, when will we have that game again, Ibu? What kind of game? The game when we can work in groups. So my student thought it's just a game instead of a lesson, when actually they learn a lot of things during this time. So yeah, I promised my student, okay, I will prepare that. So that was the turning point until so I can have more tasks at hand related to the topic that I discussed, no longer non-routine task. That's it, Miss Gita.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Nini, for the insightful explanation. We might have a lot of questions in here with the participants, but unfortunately, our time is coming to an end. And as we come to the end of today's session, allow me to express my gratitude. Thank you to Ms. Nini, Budi Astuti for the inspiring presentation, and also POT Jabar and IGI Kota Bogor for organizing this event, and our MC, not forgetting, Mr. Solahuddin Al-Ayubi, and of course all the participants for your enthusiasm and active engagement. We hope this knowledge shared today will be meaningful and applicable in your classroom. Do you have any things to say, Mr. Solahuddin?
Yeah, Miss Gita.
Okay.
Okay. Yep. Yeah, thank you, Miss Gita. And thank you everyone for joining us this evening. We just conclude a thoughtful and enriching session on building thinking classroom, a way to promote an inclusive classroom, featuring meaningful insight from Miss Nini Budi Astuti from IGI Kota Bogor. Her reflection have invited us to rethinking how classroom can be intentionally designed as spaces where every learner is encouraged to think, engage, and feel included. So we also extend our sincere appreciation to our moderator, Miss Gita, or Miss Zalfa Gita Salsabila from STECOM University, for facilitating the session with clarity and balance, helping us connect it and with a real classroom context. So for the next, our heartfelt gratitude goes to the International Affairs Division of IGI Kota Bogor for their valuable collaboration and support in making this webinar possible. Their contribution has enriched the scope of this program and strengthened our shared commitment to globally minded and inclusive educational practice. A special thank you also to STECOM University and PTIC Kota Bogor for their continued support, including the provision of webinar certificates. Their partnership remain essential in sustaining high-quality professional development for educators. We would also like to acknowledge the dedication of the TUT Jabar organization team. Our sincere thanks to Ms. Ari, our founder, and to Mr. Joko, Ms. Amel, and Mr. Ridwan. And the entire team host hard work behind the scene, Mr. Abdul, and ensure the success of this event. And before we officially conclude, we kindly remind all participants to complete the attendance form shared via the Zoom and YouTube chat links. This is required for certificate processing, which will be completed within 5 working days. For your convenience, the link is also pinned in the TUT Jabar WhatsApp group description. Please ensure that your contact information is accurate. As a conclusion reflection, today's session reminds us that inclusive classrooms are not built overnight. They grow through intentional design, meaningful questioning, and reflective practice. We invite you to take one insight from tonight's discussion and begin applying it in your classroom. Observe the impact, reflect on the process, and share the learning with your peers. Once again, thank you for your active participation and commitment to continuous professional growth. We look forward to welcoming you at our upcoming TUT Jabar events. Let us close this session by reciting Alhamdulillah together. Until next time, stay safe, stay reflective, and keep empowering learners through meaningful thinking. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Mr. Abdul,
Bapak.
Miss Gita, Miss Ni.